WMMA Now with your host Chuck Stevenson, coming at you today with another fight review. We're going to Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia for ONE Championship Masters of Destiny. We're going to the one strawweight division, which is 125 pounds. Angela Lee versus Michelle Nicolini. All right, so let's break this fight down. First round, Nicolini comes out, shoots right away, gets Lee down in a little over 10 seconds. Nicolini is immediately in side control from the takedown, slowly makes her way to mount. Lee was able to eventually sweep to Nicolini's guard for the rest of the round, spent the rest of the round in Nicolini's guard, but Nicolini was constantly working for submissions from the bottom, neutralizing the movement of Angela Lee with butterfly guard or wrist control. I mean, it's very rare to see someone who is so effective with their offense and just completely neutralizing the person in guard's offense at the same time. It was really nice display to see. Second round, Nicolini immediately shoots again. This time she's unable to get it, so switches to an ankle lock attempt, successfully getting Lee to the ground and then onto her back. Nicolini then slowly worked her way to half guard, from guard, then to side control, starts raining down a little bit of ground and pound from side control, then decides she wants full mount again and finally gets it. Nicolini again landed some GMP from the mount, but not a whole lot. After about 90 seconds in being mounted, Lee was able to reverse again and ended the round in Nicolini's guard, but it was very late in the round this time. Third round, fight doesn't go to the ground till at least the first minute. Lee was finally able to work some of her standing. Nicolini tried a couple times for takedowns. After about a minute in, Nicolini tried one. Lee was able to sprawl on her a little bit and started landing some punches to Nicolini's head. I think Nicolini did get her down, and from there, most of the round was spent back on the ground with several sweeps and reversals. Neither of them were able to really get off too much of offense this time. About a minute left. The fight's back on the feet. Nicolini again tries to shoot in. This time again, Lee is able to sprawl successfully, start landing some ground and pound. This time she is able to take Nicolini's back with about 15 seconds left. Nicolini's on all fours. Lee's kind of standing over her. Lee jumps on Nicolini's back, gets the hooks in, and starts to work for an RNC. She isn't able to really even lock it in before the bell sounds. Went to the judge's decision, giving the fight to Michelle Nicolini by decision. Congrats to Michelle Nicolini on the win. Wonderful display of grappling prowess. Okay, so things to work on. For Angela Lee, I thought she did very well in this fight. She was in there against an 8-time BJJ world champion. I thought, she could have worked her takedown defense a little more, because the first couple times Michelle Nicolini was able to get her down with really not a whole lot of effort. And then for Michelle Nicolini, really, I still think she needs to work on her stand-up. Very little that we saw of it. Also, I think she needs to be a little more patient with her positioning. I think there was a couple times where she could have stayed in side control instead of going to mount, because she had enough control with side control, and especially in the second round, she was getting some nice shots, some nice hammer fists in from side control. She didn't have to go to mount, because every time she got mount, Lee was able to reverse position after a little while. As far as matches to make, Michelle Nicolini, I think she's probably next to get a crack at the 125 crown against Seonji Nan. Now, Angela Lee already had a fight scheduled before this fight even took place. She's supposed to fight Seong Jin-nan for her atomweight, for Lee's atomweight title in October in Japan at 1 Century. Now, Lee's loss here, even though it's again at the 125 instead of her normal 115 class, this loss could put some wrenches into that plan. So who knows? I mean, as far as we know, still she's still scheduled to face Seong in Japan in October. We don't know. Now about the as far as the decision goes, you know, ONE Championship uses an open scoring system. It's a whole fight scoring system where the fight is judged as a whole instead of round by round. Some people thought Lee definitely won the third. Some people are even saying that she won the first because of how much time she spent in Nicolini's guard. Okay, even round by round scoring, I'd still would have given it to Nicolini 2-1. Yeah, Lee spent a lot of time in guard in the first round, but what was she able to do from there? Nothing. Nicolini was the one working the offense. Nicolini was the one neutralizing her. So Lee was basically on the defensive. Even the commentator said they were praising her defense while in Nicolini's guard. So even if you were to judge it round by round, I'd still give it 2-1 to Michelle Nicolini. Now, some people think that because I don't know the exact rule set that ONE uses, it's supposed to be modeled after the old Pride model, which meant that the last segment of the fight counts more than the others, which I think it is dumb. And the reasoning behind it is, well, it's supposed to be closer to affect, you know, if the fight weren't stopped right then the person in control would necessarily win. I think that's a dumb scoring criteria myself, because, you know, real fights don't have, they say it's supposed to be like a real fight, you know, but real fights don't have rounds, period. That criteria really only actually works as an effective scoring criteria if it's a single round fight. I don't know if ONE scores that or not. It doesn't seem like they did. Or if they did, they didn't favor it as heavily as the rest of it. So really, the decision came down to Nicolini's constant, effective control, basically, versus short, very short bursts of offense from Lee. And they went with Nicolini's overall control and pace of the fight. So, and I agreed. And that's nothing against Angela Lee. I still think she's, you know, she's like, what, 25? She's still a young contender, has a lot of potential, but she just ran up against two steamrollers in her last two fights, that's all. And now she's going to go back to the drawing board. So let me know what you think about the fight in the comments down below. Likes are always appreciated. And hey, what are you waiting for? Subscribe to WMMA Scene Now, the fastest growing women's mixed martial arts dedicated platform on YouTube. And we'll see you next time.